Hello YouTube. So an update on, or a continuation on the asthma. So I finished off talking about the main thing I did that helped my asthma was to change my diet. And the type of food you eat, giving your body what it needs to repair stuff and to work better, is why that improves asthma, or improves the way your body can deal with it. So there's certain foods that help with that, and again, like I mentioned, they're all fruits and vegetables. So that's the biggest thing I had changed. But also going on with eating better, I lose weight doing that. And being overweight and having asthma is hard. It makes the asthma worse because your lungs have to work harder. And I'm not going to get into weight loss a whole lot because I am one of those people that if I'm overweight, it's my fault. If I kind of watch what I eat a little bit, I don't have a problem with weight. And there's just so many things nowadays that cause problems with weight. You kind of have to find what works for you, and what works for you may not and probably doesn't work for everyone else. Everyone is so different in that respect. I have friends that I've worked with. One of them, she was severely overweight, and over years she lost some weight, and she ended up deciding she was going to run marathons and triathlons, and she's done that, and she's amazing at it, and she did it all on her own, no surgery. I mean, she's amazing. I've had others that they go on a super strict diet, they lose weight, and then they gain it back so fast that they're back to square one, and it's just a real struggle. So if you're having a problem with that, with weight, and you're working on that, I'm definitely not the person to talk to on it. But that does make a huge difference in asthma, because if you are overweight, your lungs have to work harder, and your lungs already have a problem due to that. So that would be the next place I would go. If you watch what you eat, your weight is going to change. It's going to go down, but depending on you, it's your makeup. It's going to be whether that's enough on its own or you have to do something else. And again, nutritionist is not me, and everyone's so different. I don't even want to get into that subject. Just for those reasons I said. I did, however, listen the other day to a podcast, which I'll put a link into it. It's Stuff You Should Know. And in the Stuff You Should Know, when I was doing my asthma research, there was some mention of high fructose corn syrup, which there's a big debate on whether, high fructose corn syrup is the same calorically as sugar, so therefore there's no difference. Yet some of the food documentaries I mentioned before talk about direct correlation from when they switched the sweetener in soda from sugar to corn syrup, and the fact that obesity in the US went up dramatically as soon as they made that switch. And I just thought there has to be a reason for that, and could never figure out what it was. So, and I know that it's bad because the fastest way I can lose weight personally, and it drives my wife crazy, so as I mentioned before, I used to drink a lot of soda. Mainly did that in the winter. In the summer, I like iced tea, and I really like iced tea and lemonade. But I would drink 1 or 2 44-ounce sodas a day. If I quit that, I can drop 10 pounds in a month. It's as close to instant as you get. One little change, instant change. One little, lifestyle change, instant results. So I don't know why I don't just stay off it, but I've seen it happen to me a couple times, so I know there's something to that. And there was a difference between fructose and high fructose corn syrup and sugar. Didn't know what it was, and then the Stuff You Should Know podcast explained it. That's the reason why now I try to find, if I'm going to have any type of sugary drink, this is a bad example, but this is the real sugar version of Mountain Dew. I'm addicted to caffeine, so I got to figure out how to get it somewhere. Anyway. But the Stuff You Should Know podcast talked about when sugar is basically a mix of half glucose and half fructose. And the benefit of glucose is any cell in your body can turn that into energy. Any cell at all. So with regular sugar, half of its chemical makeup can instantly get used by your body in any way your body needs it for energy. If it wants to burn it off, it can burn it off. If it wants to store it, it can store it. If it wants to use it, it can use it. Fructose, however, can only be processed by your liver. Well, that doesn't seem like too big of an issue until you think that you can search for how much sugar drinks have, and it's amazing. A cup of coffee with a couple teaspoons to a soda like I was talking about has cups and cups of sugar. So that's a lot for your body to have to break down. That's bad even on the level where I said I'm drinking Mountain Dew that's got sugar in it. There's a lot of sugar, so half of that has to be broken down by your liver because that sugar is half glucose, half fructose. Well, the liver, if it gets overloaded, it can do multiple things with that fructose. One of the things it can do is it can convert it to glucose, and then again, any cell in the body can use it. So that's ideally what you want to happen. However, when it gets overloaded with cups and cups of sugar with someone like me, or when I drink a soda, which is just cups of high fructose corn syrup, it gets overloaded and it can't process everything as fast as it needs to. So fructose is, they say, slight percentage higher fructose over glucose, and there's some debate on how much that is. But regardless, it's more fructose than glucose, and when you overload your liver with fructose, it has to decide what to do with it. The fastest thing your liver can do with it is turn it to fat. It's not to turn it to energy, to glucose that it can use, it's to turn it to fat. So to me, that's pretty much open and shut case as to why that correlation of high fructose corn syrup use and obesity in the US go up at the same time. Finally, it made sense. For the last couple of years when I've been looking at this, I've tried to figure out, there's all kinds of push back and forth advertisement of high fructose corn syrup is the same as sugar. There's nothing different, back and forth. But in my mind, that correlation was always there. And then, like I said, the personal experience I have of, okay, if I stop soda, which has a lot of that high fructose corn syrup, I lose weight rapidly. So for what it's worth, that's my tip there, is if you can change your eating habits and help to manage your weight a little bit. Again, I'm not the one to talk to on that. There's lots of different ways that you can go about that, and lots of different ways to do it, and they're different for each person. So that's too big of a subject to even spend much time on. But small things that you can do that I think would work for about everyone is, vegan diet is going to help a little bit, whether you decide to commit and go completely that way or do like I did and do partial. Even 50-50, there's lots of places online, people talk about how if they do a 50-50 vegan diet, they notice a big difference. So even doing that makes some change possible. The biggest thing for me, and any type of weight loss, if I'm going to try to lose weight at a time, is get rid of soda. and it's directly related to corn syrup, I guarantee it. So we actually watch for corn syrup in a lot of our food, and it's hard to completely get rid of it in this day and age in the US. But we try to limit it as much as possible for us and for our son, just because obviously there is some type of correlation there. So for what it's worth, try that. It's another thing that I do to deal with my asthma, is I try to keep my weight down to where I feel the best. If I don't watch what I eat and everything, I creep up to, and I drink soda, I creep up to 230, 240, and I do notice a big difference there from getting down in that 210 to 220 range. So that's the other thing I do, other than diet, is try to keep my weight managed, and that helps with the asthma quite a bit. I notice I have a much harder time breathing just at rest, even when I'm up at that 230, 240 range. It doesn't seem like that big of a difference. It's only about a 10% increase in my weight, but that's been a problem. So I try to keep that down to where I'm at what I view as my optimum weight. It's more than what people say it should be. I think last time my BMI was supposed to be 180, which I think is a bunch of bull crap. I've been 180 and I felt like garbage and I looked terrible. So I try to stay reasonable in that. So try that to help with the asthma, and next time I will go into something else. Have a good day, and we'll see you all next time.